How now, brown cow? Unique, New York. Hey, my face is on the screen now, so enjoy this. It's a little treat for you tonight. We're trying something new out. But tonight, since there's not much to talk about, I thought maybe you'd like to see my face or get a good laugh. Who knows? All right, so we've got 4 pages, 5 pages to do tonight, and let's just jump right in. Three basic definitions in this first little section. First thing is the hindsight bias. The hindsight bias is our tendency to say that we kind of knew it all along. So, for instance, you might have seen this weekend's 49ers Seahawks. If I ask you right now who's going to win, we might have 60%, for instance, say San Francisco, 40% say Seattle. Well, after the game's over, that percentage of who said it's going to win is going to go up. When 60%, if San Francisco wins, about 75-80% of you will probably have said that San Francisco probably was going to win. You thought they were going to win all along. You knew it all along. You had a hindsight bias that you knew what was going to happen. Likewise, if Seattle won, there'd be more people jumping on that they knew it all along. We do this sometimes with studying as well. We think we know it better than we do, and then we know it all along. We do it all the time in sports. We do this all the time in like history. When we're reading history books, we're going, well, how the hell didn't they see that? It was in front of their face, and we kind of think that we're a little bit smarter than we are. So the key, kind of with that, practically, is to just be aware that it happens all the time and to not let it affect us as much as possible. There's a term here that's not in the book, but it shows up on the AP exam. It's kind of important. Generalizability. Generalizability. It means when we find some sort of research, we find something or observe something in research, how well does that finding generalize to a different population? So, for instance, if I find something that 10-year-olds, 10-year-olds really enjoy broccoli with Molly McButter on top. Does that apply to all 10-year-olds? Does it apply to African American 10-year-olds? Does it apply to 10-year-olds that are in China? Does it apply to 10-year-olds that are in Australia? Can it apply to everybody? How generalizable is it? So we got to use it all the time, right? Because when we find something, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be true for everybody. Okay, so the official definition is the degree of the results of the study can be applied to different types of populations. Or if we find that in a research study, just point blank, that people like broccoli with Molly McButter on top, does that able to generalize to 10-year-olds? Or can we generalize that to everybody? So we got to figure out what the research actually means. So even when we find something, even when we do research and we see that it's good research and we find good results, can we take those results and apply them to more than one population? And then finally, this whole chapter, and really this whole class, is on critical thinking. Critical thinking is just looking at something and not taking it at face value, looking at something and digging a little bit deeper, and trying to really get to the bottom of it. Not just we'll talk a lot in this class about what we read in the newspaper, what we hear on the news, what we read in magazines. When it says research shows that, every other week there's a study that shows that research shows you that eggs are either good for you or they're going to kill you. You're going to have too much cholesterol, so don't eat eggs. The next week you see one, eat eggs, they're awesome. One week you see doing endurance training or running long distances is going to blow your heart up. The next month you see it's making your bones strong and you're going to live to be like 150. So which one of those is right? They both claim the same thing. We have to think critically about it, see what they did in their research study that made sense, what they didn't, what they forgot, what they left out, what they didn't take into account, and all those different things. Critical thinking doesn't mean you're necessarily going to come to the right answer. It just means that you've explored it a little bit more thoroughly than most Americans would explore things. So these three things are basically the three major vocabulary words here in the first 5 pages. Make sure that you're trying to get ahead of the reading if you can. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.